In an unforeseen development that has left the boxing world reeling, the legendary Mike Tyson and YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul reportedly engaged in a fierce and unexpected altercation during what was supposed to be a routine training session. The incident, which quickly escalated out of control, ended with Paul being hospitalized and has shocked fans and critics alike. It all began as a typical sparring practice session, but things took a dramatic turn when Tyson, known for his ferocious temper and powerful punches, allegedly lost his cool and repeatedly hit Paul with a series of devastating blows. The intensity of Tyson's punches left Paul seriously injured, prompting an urgent trip to the hospital. What was intended to be a controlled training environment quickly devolved into an incident that has rattled the boxing community. In his first public statement after the incident, Jake Paul appeared visibly shaken but maintained his characteristic bravado. "It's crazy how things turned out," Paul said, clearly disturbed by the turn of events. Although his team has yet to disclose the full extent of his injuries, medical professionals have indicated that while Paul is expected to make a full recovery, his injuries are severe and will require significant time and care to heal. The altercation has sent shockwaves through the boxing world, especially as the date of their scheduled fight on November 15 in Dallas approaches. UFC veteran Michael Chandler, a fan favorite, expressed his hope that Mike Tyson would emerge victorious against Jake Paul. Despite the incident, Chandler believes the fight will be intriguing, albeit with its own set of challenges. Chandler mentioned that he had informed Jake Paul about a previous encounter he had with Mike Perry, a fighter who outweighed and stood taller than Paul. He also pointed out that Tyson, despite being 30 years older than Paul, still possesses formidable power. "Tyson's age doesn't matter," Chandler said. "Everyone wants to see Mike Tyson knock Jake Paul out, not the other way around." Jake Paul, while acknowledging the dangers he faces, remains defiant. "A lot of people see me as arrogant, which I can be sometimes, but I'm just having fun and entertaining the world," Paul said. "The older generation might want to see Mike knock me out, but I've got the kids, the middle schoolers, the high schoolers, and the college students rooting for me." Paul's bravado extended to his recent challenges, including one directed at UFC champion Alex Pereira. Paul has been vocal about his desire to face Pereira in the boxing ring, despite Pereira's dominance in mixed martial arts. "Alex Pereira, you said you want to box, and I'm the king of this, so come over, we can make it happen," Paul declared. Pereira, who has won titles in 2 UFC weight divisions, has shown interest in boxing, but the fight's likelihood remains uncertain due to contractual obligations and the challenges of securing licensing. Dana White, CEO of UFC, has expressed reservations about the feasibility of the fight, citing the difficulty in obtaining the necessary approvals. "I don't think the commission would even allow that fight to happen," White said on a podcast, adding that if he were a boxer or fighter in the UFC, he wouldn't risk it. The recent altercation between Tyson and Paul has only added to the drama, shifting the focus to the money involved and the nostalgia surrounding Tyson. "I was alive and remember the Mike Tyson mystique of the late 80s, one boxing enthusiast remarked. "It's sad for me, not that he's doing this, but because I don't want to see the guy get hurt." Despite concerns, Jake Paul remains determined. "I want everybody to know how much I love this sport," Paul said at a press conference after his recent victory over Mike Perry. Paul expressed his desire to start boxing professionally, stating that he had already secured a fight with heavyweight boxing superstar Mike Tyson in Texas in November. "I really like Jake a lot," one fan commented, "but once he's in that ring, he has to fight like his life depends on it because it will." Meanwhile, Butterbean, real name Eric Esch, a popular knockout artist from the past, weighed in on the situation, expressing skepticism about the fight ever taking place. "The whole thing has been a PR trick to boost Jake's fame and make him the talk of the town," Butterbean said. "But he will never take on Tyson at the height of his fighting career." Butterbean challenged Paul to a $2 million winner-take-all match, but the difference in their experience is significant. Butterbean has participated in over 100 boxing and kickboxing contests, while Paul has only had a handful of professional fights. Despite this, Paul remains confident in his abilities. "Jake was 230 pounds when I saw him yesterday," Butterbean noted. He looked really big, and if he's at 230, that can make it very interesting. The question remains, can Jake Paul withstand the pressure of facing a legend like Mike Tyson? Tyson's style of fighting bob and weave, getting in close, might be challenging for Paul, who hasn't demonstrated the same level of close quarters combat. Jake's not going to fight close like that, and he can't stay away from Tyson because Mike closes the gap too quickly, one analyst pointed out. Professional wrestler Diamond Dallas Page also commented on the upcoming fight, noting that despite Tyson's age, he remains a formidable opponent. There's talk that Mike Tyson will probably prevail in his upcoming matchup with Jake Paul, Page said. Tyson is still dangerous, even at 58. As the fight date approaches, the tension between the two fighters continues to build. Paul's previous opponent, Mike Perry, was a tough challenge, but Tyson is an entirely different level of danger. Paul's supporters believe he has a chance, but many in the boxing community are concerned about Tyson's health and the risk involved in the fight. Lennox Lewis, a former heavyweight champion, has expressed concerns about the safety of both fighters, particularly Jake Paul. "I'm concerned for Jake Paul," Lewis said. "Tyson's ability to hit a bag shows that he still has punching power. I know Paul doesn't want to be hit, but if he takes one of those punches, he will feel it." Lewis went on to suggest that Tyson, despite his age, could still surprise everyone in the boxing world. "Mike looked good when I first met him a few weeks ago," Lewis remarked. "He was moving around, showing off his body, and it gave the impression that he was getting ready. As for Paul, his focus remains on winning, but he acknowledges the challenge ahead. There's a lot of people who think I'm arrogant, but I'm just here to entertain," Paul said. "At the end of the day, I have to fight like my life depends on it because it will." Roy Jones Jr., the last boxer to face Mike Tyson in an exhibition match in 2020, offered his perspective on the fight. "Tyson is still the most formidable puncher I have ever faced," Jones said. "At 58, he still has unmatched strength in the ring." Jones recalled the power of Tyson's punches, comparing them to a mule's kick. "If Tyson hits you on the chin with a shot like that, you're either going down or getting knocked out," Jones warned. "I don't think Jake Paul will be able to handle that." Jones also pointed out that Paul has been training hard, specifically to put on muscle for the bout. "Jake looked fairly robust and weighed 230 pounds when I met him yesterday," Jones noted. "But even with the weight gain, I'm not sure he can stay away from Tyson." The fight is set to be an official bout, with Tyson and Paul squaring off in 8 two-minute rounds. Despite the nearly 2-decade age gap and Tyson's long absence from the ring, the fight has garnered significant attention. As the boxing world eagerly awaits the showdown, there are those who question whether the fight should even happen. Johnny Nelson, the current cruiserweight champion, emphasized the experience difference. "From day one, I said for Mike Tyson, who's the same age as me, and everyone knows Mike Tyson's experience, what he's done, what he's achieved. Jake Paul doesn't even know what Mike Tyson's forgotten," Nelson said. Despite the doubts, the fight is set to take place, and fans are preparing for what could be a historic event. Tyson's brilliant career was halted by a technical knockout in 2005, one commentator noted. But even now, Tyson remains a threat in the ring. McBride, the last person to trade blows with Tyson in a professional ring,